Hopefully, I wasn't the one that delayed things. You know what I mean, I'm over here.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. I went into a conference room. I was just waiting for the Zoom link. But it's okay. I started eating my lunch.
Sorry about that.
I
Yeah.
was, no, it's okay. I normally do like a pretty late lunch.
No, enjoy yourself. See, this is the real that I'm really trying to show. But just to introduce you to everyone, seeing as we're already recording.
Oh, are we? So I can't stop my.
Not eat your food. No, it's fine. Eat your food. Like I'm not. It's not. This is not the type of show. This is very laid back here. I just want to have conversations. But just to introduce you, everyone, this is the beautiful, the lovely, the talented, the Renaissance woman, Ashley Cimone. I mean, I literally, if I try to list down everything that you do, it would probably take too long. But I will try to summarize it for everyone. She is a. She is the creative director, co-founder, and designer of ASHYA, executive producer and partner of Equator Productions. She's a chef, a daughter, a sister, a fiance, a friend. You know what I mean? She's like a Renaissance woman, and I mean that wholeheartedly. You are someone who, like, I think a lot of people should look up to. I mean, I damn sure do. I don't know how you
That's
get.
really sweet. Thank you.
I don't know how you get that at the same time, like being the most stylish at the same time. It's just a fact.
Thanks. I don't really know how to deal with flattery. I appreciate it though. Thank
You know
you.
what? That's interesting that you say that because I'm finding that a lot of like women don't know how to deal with flattery. It's like Bianca said the same thing last time I spoke to her. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
You
It's a hard, cold world out here.
like you do so much. Like you earn it. You got to receive that. Like you shouldn't like be like, nah, that's not me, because you really do this. You really do. You're really out here. Like you're busy. Like you're really making impactful, meaningful works, not just in the things that you create, but the actual works that you're involved in. You're not out here just like, I'm doing some meaningless video for something that doesn't matter, or trying to put together a series that doesn't have anything that affects the community. I really find you, and I've kind of said this before, but you're an inspiring figure. I'm not talking to anyone
Thank
that doesn't
you.
inspire me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But I feel like it is interesting to call out
Mhm.
because I think that this year in its totality, I've been thinking a lot about just how I express myself through my work and like what my engagements have been like in my career, and why sometimes it feels like I maybe don't lean into it, but sometimes I feel like I have to pull back because folks aren't ready to receive all of me. And I think that's something that a lot of strong women experience sometimes. I think because people aren't ready for that shit. Like, especially being like a Black woman, a young Black woman, being very sure of yourself and confident and good at what you do sometimes isn't always met with an embrace. And I'm experiencing it right now in different ways on different projects with different clients or different partners where I don't know, it's just weird. You have to really continuously give yourself pep talks, and it's a challenge. But I say that also to say that I appreciate that you recognize that I'm a strong woman and that I'm good at what I do. Thank you.
Good is an understatement. Like you really are. Like you're quite a compliment. I mean, just to be honest, and even what you're saying about, I think that's a really strong topic to mention now because I think, just I know other women who are really successful as well. And I think that's something I've heard stories of them running into as well. It's just, there's a new world, right? And I think not just with what's happened this year with the pandemic and everything like that, but there's a lot of, women, particularly Black women, who are, they're taking what they want. They're not asking any questions. They're saying, this is the world that I want. These are the things that I can create. And this is my talent. And they're just knocking down those doors. And whether it's men, Black men, white men, whatever, or just other women who have been in those positions who are, not Black, they're seeing those women run through those doors, and it's an uncomfortable feeling. Just even me, from my perspective, I want everyone, I want the best to win. I don't care who you are. If you're the best, get through the door. But I mean, you would at least be able to say, at least give somebody new a chance. Like have a new story. This version of what we've all been living in is really, for the most part, not to give them too much credit, but it's a white man's world. for the most part, it's a Western version of it, you know, unless we're going to go to someplace else that more Black people are more represented. But that's not reality. It's not just white folks that are around here. There's a lot of mixtures. There's a lot of diversity, and that diversity should be shown in all these positions. So if you're an executive producer, a partner, a co-founder, like, you got to say that, because anybody else would. Anybody else would be in that position, particularly if your work is quality. Like, you make luxury goods. You know what I mean? You're not making T-shirts. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah, but you know, I
imagine
think it's such an interesting thing though, because I feel that is accepted from men so much more like fluidly than it is from women sometimes. Like, I've definitely been in a lot of conversations where I just don't receive the respect that I know I deserve in those rooms or in those conversations. And I try not to just assume that it's because I'm a woman a lot of the times, but the proof is in the pudding, kind of. And it's disheartening in a lot of instances where, you know, I see, you know, you've got this angry Black, I've been given the angry Black woman label plenty of times, or what my old boss used to call me, sassy. I got called sassy in a review.
Wow.
When I was asking / like just stating that I deserved a raise during one of my, you know, few salaried career roles in the past. And I was so thrown off by that. Like, how, and, you know, sassy in terms of maybe the way that I was assertive, that could have been another word. Sassy in the way that I was bold with like sharing ideas and solutions for things. But the word sassy was used because it's not acceptable when coming from someone who you either don't expect it from or culturally you don't understand. And I think that as a woman, I get, you know, I experience that a lot in everyday working situations. I mean, I am a partner of Equator Productions with Anthony, my fiance, who has been doing this for a minute. But the clients, even though executive producer is in my email, or they've been communicating with me to negotiate an entire project, I've had meetings where, you know, a white male wouldn't even make eye contact with me. And I have there's no direct explanation for these types of things, but it's just something that, you know, is experienced, and you just kind of got to roll with the punches.
It's crazy to hear you say that. And maybe I'm blessed in the positions that I've been in. I've literally been in meetings where I've cursed. You know what I mean? Like, to everyone in the meeting.
If I start
I've been like belligerent.
or getting
I mean,
loud,
like, you don't understand. Like, this is the type of stuff that, I mean, I've cursed in meetings, and I'm not just talking about like podunk companies. I'm talking like Fortune 50 companies where I'm in a meeting saying, this is my vision. This is what I want. This is what I believe. And at points where I didn't have the title that I currently have, just because I believe in something so strongly. And I was never met with like, oh no, I mean, someone has requested that I be laid off and fired before, but I just stood on it. Like, my idea was better, so you lost. I don't care if you're like a manager, director, or whatever. And I don't think women get that attitude. And sometimes, you know, Black people in general, people of color, because there's a fear of, if I don't hold on to this position that I may not be good enough, or I may not have earned because I've gotten just for whether it's been nepotism, or just like, there was a point where C students just got through. And when you see all these A's coming behind you and they're coming hard, I think that's sort of like, whether it's ignorance, fear, more than likely, that these people take your spot. Like, you want to hold on. You got to do whatever.
I definitely think it's a fear thing above all else. It's more, and I always kind of attribute a lot of the issues in the world, I think in general, of this idea that there's scarcity, or that, you know, there's not enough of something. There's not enough room for the leaders in certain industries. There's not enough room for there to be more. There's not enough money. There's not enough resources. There's not enough, there's not enough clout to share around between everybody. You know what I mean? It's like all of it is driven by this idea that scarcity exists and there's not enough. And I think that that's what drives a lot of this energy of suppression for women, I think, in media, fashion, every industry you can think about, you know, where it's just like, there's not enough room. Like, this is a man's world. Like, know your role, know your place. And for somebody like me, nobody's telling me what my place is. You know, no one's telling me what I can't do or what I can't say or what I can't create or what I can't lead, you know, but that doesn't really ring a good bell with everybody. Like,
tell them.
get out the way. Like, most of
facts.
the time people just might be in the way. I just need you to get out my way.
I'm saying either I'm going past you, I'm going through you. I mean, that's the mentality.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna be on this.
Or I'm not going past you, I'm going through you. I'm trying to go together.
We could go together.
And I think that's what's been a thing for me recently, where folks can't see someone who maybe hasn't had a certain level of experience or accolades or anything like that as someone who can help pull them further too. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, you know, wait in line. But it's like, no, like, I'm actually helping you.
Period. I think that's something it's hard to struggle with, because people don't, I guess the concept of like, we can get there together and we can probably have more together doesn't really doesn't register to people that if I have $1 and you have $1, the goal isn't to get $1 from you so I have $2. It's why don't we take $2 and make it $4? And people like put that together. Exactly. There's value in both of us, not just one of us. But that scarcity, it's a scarcity mindset. Or maybe we feel like there's too many of us, or there are some things that there's only a limited finite amount of. Like if there's going to be, let's use a bad example, if there's going to be like 12 Vogue covers this year, like there's only going to be 12, right? So like if I get 2 of them, somebody else is only, it's only 8 for everybody else that exists.
Right, but then that's also like, well, maybe there's only 12 Vogue covers, but why is Vogue the only thing that matters?
That's what I'm saying. Like there's 12 Vogue is there.
Hundreds of thousands of other magazine covers out there in the world.
And then you can always create your own. That's the other part of it. Like I'm more about like creating my own. I'm not looking to get the validation from anyone else. Like I want to create, you know, my own and have it on that same level, as close to it as possible. But man, it started out so beautiful. I love that you're in your element, because like you really just, I mean, I've seen you over the years and I've checked in at different points in times, but you've always been like, whether it was like working through the CFDA award process or, you know, working to start up the Equator Productions, getting really like in tune with Anthony at that point in time. It's always been like, every time I hear from you, it's like you're working on something and it's big. I'm just like, it's always big. It's always like, every time you check in, it's like, you have like uploads, like presenting and like promoting the thing that you guys are all working on. Like that, I mean, it's just always something just exciting. It's always a new collection. It's you know, I don't know how you don't stop or don't get burnt out, but it's just really rewarding.
I do.
Thank you for being honest.
I do. Don't let the cute looks when I actually come outside fool you. I get burnt out for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I think it's just I think I'm a creator. You know, like I feel like as a creator, like I always want to be producing new things. Like there's a lot, and as a creative, I mean, and you as well, you know, like you have things inside of you that you need to get out. Like, so my work is just an expression of that. And it's, you know, it seems like I'm a worker bee and things like that, but I just feel like there's things that I want to get out or stuff that moves me, that I feel inclined to act on. And I just feel alive, I think, by working towards things all the time. It's kind of like, you know, this idea that there's ever a finite amount of learning. Like, no, you can forever be learning. You can forever be creating. You can forever be reinventing yourself. And I think that I'm just eager to learn and grow, like, for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we all should, you know? I don't want my brain to shrivel up.
Exactly. And I mean, if you're not growing, you're damn sure going the opposite direction. There's only forward, there's not back. And I think I see that with artists though a lot. It's like it's almost impossible for us to sit still in a way. Like you said, it's like someone saying you can't have water. If someone says you can't create, it feels that at least to me, the idea of sitting still, I would go crazy. I don't know how people do it. Like the idea of like, I'm gonna go to work, only do what someone else tells me, try to execute their dream, and not trying to work towards mine and get these things. I would lose my mind, and I have in the past trying to do that. I respect those that can do it, but I literally can't. That feels like mental illness. That feels like not taking care of myself. That is, So yeah, I'm glad that you're still working on yourself. I'm glad that you're still producing. What's motivating you now? What's the current thing or the next thing that you're working on?
What's motivating me now? I mean, that's a big open-ended question.
Is it the community?
I
Is it
think,
to get your stories out? Is to produce some
I
flyers?
mean, I really do. I've had this conversation with my business partners, Moya and Anthony, a lot. And I don't know, I feel like I found like my thing. Like I feel like I found my dream jobs and I'm in them, and I'm just motivated by the idea of building with my community, with my family.
Mhm.
Cause Anthony is not just, he's soon to be my husband, but like he wasn't just my friend. He became family because of the relationship that we built. Like Moya's not just my friend. She's family because of the relationship that we built. And I feel that my community, specifically Black and brown folks, that's that's extensions of my family. And like I think most inspired to do things that impact my community, whether it be providing opportunities or, you know, showing people themselves, or, you know, breaking a barrier so that there's someone that can come through it a little bit easier the next time. Be an example for my niece, you know, or my sister or my mother, you know, like I'm constantly thinking about, and I mean, this is good and bad, but I'm constantly thinking about what the work that I do, how it impacts the world around me. And I guess that's kind of what's moving me right now and what's inspiring me right now. I think that we've been in a really weird ass time this year. Like 2020 has been weird. Like there's been lots of polar, I think, emotional experiences for me and like everybody else in the world. Like things have been extremely bad and things can also be extremely good. But one thing that I hope everybody comes out of this pandemic with is just a really clear sense of purpose around how they want to spend their time and their energy. And I think I'm coming out of it. Well, I guess we're not out of it. We're still in the pandemic, but I think I'm coming out of this segment of the pandemic and like going into the end of 2020 with just like, it's just been affirmative, I think, that I've been moving in the right direction and I can double down on what I've already been doing and really be unapologetic about pursuing my goals. And that's building so that I can pour back into the community. That's it. The Black community specifically, but that's really it.
What exactly do you want for the community when you say pouring back into it? Is it about the stories that we tell, the equity that we have? Is it helping other people find things that they love so they can, you know, feel free and validated as well? What are you trying to put?
All of that. I want freedom. I think that's if I can shorten it to one word, it's freedom. And
Yeah.
I think that's freedom of, in every sense, you
Mhm.
know, freedom financially, freedom, you know, socially, freedom mentally, physically. Like I think that, you know, oppressed people have a hard time. We don't know what freedom really is. You know, like I don't think I even fully know what freedom really is, but that's what I'm looking for. You know, this limitless way of kind of seeing opportunity and, you know, the possibilities of what could be. I think, you know, I was talking to somebody the other day and they called me a visionary. And I was like, oh, that's,
Okay, hold on.
that is the title of the day. Yes. But I was just like, you know, what does that really mean? And like, can I say I'm a visionary if I feel limited in the ways that I'm thinking about what I can do? Like, I want to be a visionary, but I want us all to be visionaries, to be able to look beyond our current situations, our current life, our current predicament of the world, and be able to imagine newness, like be able to imagine things that don't exist. And I think that's just what I want for the Black community. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm not an idealist in the sense that I think that we can completely change the way that the world is, but I do think that we can change our circumstances.
It's funny that you don't realize how revolutionary what you just said is, because I mean, seriously, that's all I want for myself and the world. Is for people to be able to have as much freedom as those that we look to as, you know, whatever the other they have. Like, I mean, I think Bianca on the show said, you know, a couple of weeks ago that she wants to have white man adventures. And I think a lot of people.
That's freedom. Like, I feel like people say Kanye is crazy, right? He has had lots of moments, right? He's in a space right now, whatever. I pray for him, but he has said some profound things. You know, like, there's a certain level of like, there's just a certain type of like lifestyle that some of us have never and maybe will never experience because we aren't able to be so free in our minds. I look at like Willow and Jaden Smith, right? And I think someone like described them as like the example of what Black freedom looks like, because they're just existing in the world. I mean, I don't claim to know what their daily life is like, but I think people look at, you know, this younger generation of Black youth and see how fearless they are and the way that they approach their careers, you know, taking time for themselves, you know, the way that they're just enjoying life and enjoying the world. And I think it's really beautiful, honestly. Like, white kids get to just do whatever they want when they're younger and then still be CEOs and executives of companies as adults. You know, no one, you know, I feel like I really want us to be able to loosen the fuck up. Like, I feel like as a Black woman, I've had to just be such a tight ass throughout my career because I'm worried about what somebody's going to think, or, you know, how I'm presenting myself, or how I'm speaking in certain rooms, or how someone perceives me and all this stuff. But I'm just like, if I am talented in these ways, and what I'm putting out into the world is in some way contributing or improving the world, then get off my fucking back and let me just do, excuse me, I don't mean to be cursing so much, but just like, let me just do things the way that I want to do things and just enjoy myself. But I think that, I don't know, I don't think that we have found that freedom amongst ourselves just yet, but I think we're getting there.
We're getting there, but you know, the second half of that, the second part of that, before I say what I'm going to say, turn your screen horizontal.
Oh, I don't know if is it going to turn? Did it turn?
Oh, does it look better? Now go back to where you were. Go back to how you were.
Go back to how it was?
I liked it better the way it was. Never mind. But
okay,
I think really what we have to do is that we have to take it. No one's going to give it to us. Just like they took it, we have to take it as well. If you want freedom, think about what we're trying to get to. Freedom of choice, freedom of thought, freedom of like body, freedom of energy, freedom of like finances. You have to take that. No one's going to say, here's a good life. Here's a way of being that you can be.
Yeah.
Elon Musk is like literally changing the entire like vehicle grid system, putting ships into space and trying to go to Mars. Look how big he's allowed to dream. Of course, he's an intellectual dude, super smart, has many resources, but think about the limitlessness of his dreams. I want Black people to dream like that. I want Black people to be talking about, I want to go to Jupiter. I want to go to Pluto. I want to be an astronaut, scientist. I want to go to the ocean. I want to hear us talking about that, talking about stuff like that. I want bigger dreams. I think sometimes we limit ourselves, limit ourselves to our path. That is what we would look like we were truly unshackled mentally, like we would always say.
And I think that it has a lot to do with both our mindsets, but also there are socially, there's bridges, like gaps that need to be bridged, right? Because we, you know, I think just collectively as like a human race have expanded, right? I think that so let's just think about you and I are dreamers in ways that maybe, you know, previous generations weren't able to fully be because of the limitations of the world they lived in, right? So now how do we bridge the gap between these dreams and then also reality? Because that's also what we're being confronted with, is the reality that we exist in, which is hindering our progress in many different ways. So I say all that to say, vote, 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 vote. I don't want to hear nobody talking about how voting doesn't matter. When you are not a participating citizen, then you don't have shit to say about what goes on with our government. Okay, it is it's a shit show. It's a shit show right now, literally, with flies swirling around it.
But it's so funny when I hear people say vote, because they don't finish the rest of the sentence. They're like, vote for Joe Biden. That's really what people are saying. Ain't nobody really talking about vote for Trump.
Yeah, but
that's really what y'all want to say. Just say it. Like, everybody keeps like,
vote for Kamala.
I really
vote for Kamala Harris.
Because I know really what everybody's really trying to. I'm like, why does everybody keep stopping short? Y'all know what y'all want to say. I know who I follow on, like, the social medias. Y'all want to
No, because I think that, well, the reality is that there are so many folks that didn't vote.
Yeah.
That would have voted for the Democratic candidate at the time, that just didn't vote because they didn't feel like their votes didn't matter. So that's how we ended up in this predicament in the first place. If everyone in the country does vote, I don't think that Trump stands a chance.
Oh, I don't think so either. But I do believe that his past election had a lot to do with just, how do I say this in a way that makes it seem like I don't care more than I do. There was a large swath of America, say white America, say poor America, say middle America, those that work in construction, mining, all this other shit that we don't really pay attention to on our East Coast, our coastal sort of cities, and I think a lot of us get because of that, and I do believe that we forget about the people in the middle, although you're kind of from the middle, you're from Wisconsin.
I'm from Wisconsin, white as hell.
Those people just weren't listened to. I think a lot of times they feel like mainstream media or whatever sort of outlets that are, more left-leaning don't pay attention to them. They just felt like Trump was their dude. He was the guy who's going to bring their jobs back, which they never got back. He was going to guy law and order. Mind you, we're under his law and order right now. The whole fucking place is burning. Mr. Law and Order. It's just like he told them the lies that they wanted to hear. He was an outsider enough for them to believe like he was going to be he was going to be their white knight. He was going to be their savior. And I know I truly, genuinely sympathize and empathize with those people. Because if I turn on television, ain't nobody talking about if some white kid got shot in a similar circumstance. Although the numbers and the percentages in no way, shape, or form equate to anything that the black people have to struggle with. Your mind is like, at least y'all getting talked about. At least somebody gives guys. At least somebody gives you the platform to complain. That's why they go on 8chan, 4chan, and all this other, hate-filled, alt-right, hating, white supremacist sort of things. Not saying all Trump supporters are that, but those are the smaller minorities that tend to vocal. They just felt like nobody was listening to them. This is their country. They want it to be this way. It's getting more brown. It's getting more liberal.
Yes, I do understand that, but
that world is over. Get over it. Like, that old way of thinking ain't around no more. That shit is dead. The world is mixing. Get with it. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's just, it's just like, okay, I get it. I know what we came from. I know what this country was set up to be. Yeah, it is not that. Get the program.
Your job's try and find a new job. You mad black people here, we're not going nowhere. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We can go together, or I can go through you. And I mean that wholeheartedly. Because we're going this way. The world is going back. For as much as you want to hold on to 1955 or 1850 and Jim Crow and slave, whatever it is that you have in your mind that you want to go make America great again, this is what's going to happen. The world, America, everybody's going great that way. We're going forward. We going left. Y'all can go right and stay by yourselves and, I don't know, carve out Montana and how that, break that shit up and become United States with hate over there. But we're trying to move to some next shit. And we just got to go forward, man. Like, I really want to get beyond these little, like, in my mind, they're very minor, although important social issues. It's like every fucking generation, you got to retrain a certain set of the population to be like, yo, black people are valid, black people have value, brown people are valid, brown people have value, not being bigoted. I'm tired of doing that shit.
Yeah, but I mean, we also have to, I think for me, I don't think that we should have to do these things, but I also understand where we are in the history of America. Like, it hasn't been that long since desegregation, like this country was founded on, on the principles that slavery was okay. The wealth in this country was built on the backs of Black men and women. Like, I do understand where this country started, and it has come quite far, but I think that this is the way that things are going in this country is just not acceptable globally. And it's not, I just, white people take so long to get with the program. It's just like, what, like, how much longer is it going to take you to get with the program? Like, we have, amidst all of the adversities, still become the most, not become, have and always will be the most influential global community ever, period.
3 T's, no dots, blank, end story, done. The most influential, the most culturally relevant. Like, what do you think about anything that you enjoy in life, other than some like random BS food? Anything that's entertainment oriented, love oriented, energy oriented, it's Black and brown related, is it not?
And I really do think that, I think that the concept of racism, it really just holds us back as humans. I really do think that we could be so much further as a world, as a race, a human race, if we could move past some of this silly, emotionally driven, just dumb stuff. Like, it's just dumb. Like, it just makes, like, I don't have eloquent words to talk about racism. I think it's just dumb.
Period. I think that's the best way to talk about it. When I do this, how I say it's ignorant, it's dumb. It doesn't want the conversation and the high-mindedness and the amount of essays and writing and energy that we put into it, because all it is dumb. It's
just dumb. It makes no sense. There's nothing that you could say that could logically explain racism. Or I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, we need to move forward, I think, as a human race. And because we haven't, we have to think about things, I think, in segmented ways. Like, of course, I'm focused on the betterment of the Black community, but that's because the Black community is oppressed. If I didn't have to think about these things, I could just think about the betterment of, like, everybody, you know. But, like, I'm just, I don't think we have the bandwidth for that yet.
That's a beautiful way to put it, because I think some people, they want to know why, you know, at times Black people can be so exclusionary, and it's not about exclusionary. It's just like we need to focus the limited resources that we have on
No, exactly. It's focused.
Period. That's all it is. It's focused. I can't deal with you right now because I'm trying to deal with us, deal with me.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to be like, I'm going to solve the problems of the world when our problems haven't been solved. I'm going to make everybody eat when we have to eat. I'm going to give everybody a house when we don't even have a fucking house. Like, I can't give you an electric car and build you a brand new spaceship when I don't even have a house to go to. When I, you know, it's just like the resources are so limited. There was a graph I saw from, I think, Bloomberg. Wish I could bring it up. Maybe I'll add it to it later. But it was a chart of like the wealth in America. And I swear, it looked like a rocket ship coming off when you saw the, you know, the white wealth, whether it was property, equity, stocks, et cetera, et cetera. Like the line for Black folks compared to this like line over here, it's like a sliver. It looked like some deli meat compared to a steak. The level, it's just like this. You just operate from two ends of the spectrum.
I mean, we've got some catching up to do here, right? Like, I think you have to think about the amount of free labor that created the wealth that is American. So it's like, I understand why whites in America have most of the wealth here. I get it. It makes sense. The math makes sense, right? We got a lot of catching up to do. And I do think that it won't take us 400 years, but I don't know. I think we're figuring it out. It's just a matter of being focused. Yeah.
I mean, not to completely switch the subject, but just speaking about you like traveling, you know, different places India, you've been of course different places in the US, and I'm sure many other travels. What are the commonalities that you've seen with people trying to struggle to get to some other place? Or is there anything that you'd like to talk about in that realm, like from a global community or global citizen perspective? Like, what are you seeing people trying to do in their day-to-day lives?
I mean, I just think that I'm just reminded of how similarly everyone's working towards achieving happiness. I think around the globe, we're all looking for the same things: happiness, peace, you know, a quality of life. And I think I feel very connected to folks that I meet around the globe because I see the commonalities in like what we do. Now, everybody's lifestyle isn't the same. Our cultures are different. Our traditions are different, but we all want the same thing. And I think that's why I don't, as an individual, really understand like the idea of like, you know, discriminated against someone because of where they come from or the color of their skin or something like that, because it's just like, this is a human being that has all the same like wants, almost all the same wants and needs as you. Like, we all want the same shit. We all want to be happy. That's it. Everybody's searching for happiness in different ways. People go about it in extremely nuanced ways, but like, we all want the same thing. So I don't know. I mean, I guess that's not really like you could cut this. It's not like a eloquent way of explaining like what my traveling experiences have been like, but I think I just realized how similar we all are.
Actually, the answer that I think I was trying to get to, this is a bad question, but no one's on just, I really think that's it. It's just like we're all, I mean, it's so cliche, but it really is the truth that we all just want the same things. You know, a house, to whatever sort of actualization we can get to, something to feel like we're loved. You even said a quote when I was reading up, you and the things that you've done, but you said a quote stood out that you had. I love it. It said, anything that you choose to do, it should help you do what you love more. And
yeah.
a beautiful and simple way to like define something that is really just internalized to all of us, something that's essential. That's all we're all trying to do. Find the things that we love, find the people that we love, be with that more, and just keep going until we can't go anymore. And
yeah,
just get out each other's way to get that done and work together to get there. And try to help a hand share those things around. It should all happen. Why not? It does. Sometimes make me a bit fearful because I feel like the world is heading in a direction where it's getting more condensed. The resources are getting more siloed. There's more accumulation, disbursement. Not that I'm trying to have some socialism, but if somebody has 100 and if someone has 99, there's only 1% left. Are we all just going to sacrifice the 1% or fight over the 1%? When if someone had 50%, we all could fight over the 50. There'll be more to go around. I just don't know from like a mathematical perspective when we talk about resources. Our have been already like been accumulated, whether it's been passed down. They may genuinely not be enough for everybody. Genuinely. It's something that I think about sometimes. Maybe it's
but not enough of what?
I'm not sure. Just resources. I'm not sure if that's money or just.
Because the thing is, money is printed.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not
like
not really real,
money is fake. Most of the time, it just lives in the cloud. It just lives in the air.
But check it out. Like, if you wanted to go tomorrow and make a platinum bag and make 300,000 of them, could you do that if you wanted to? No, you still need the material, et cetera, et cetera. Somebody else, if they have a similar company, whether it's LVMH or Karen, sure, let's do that tomorrow. Your Rihanna, what you want. So the resources at a certain point in time, they do stop, and they are accumulating. Where people control those resources and they don't give you access. There's literally times where it's like, if there's 10 houses on the block and they all own, I can't buy one unless I make one. If someone's bought the lot that I want to make my house on, I literally can't build on it. There are times when there's just no more space, or at least in this area, or in this place. And I just wonder how much of that is a balance of like needing to have people share more or create more, or go to other places to be able to create that more.
I mean, I think it's both. I don't think it's either or. It's both and. It's like we need to share more and create more. I do think that obviously there's like a finite amount of like land on this earth. But shoot, they're planning to move people to Mars sooner than later, I imagine, but still there is a finite amount of certain resources, yes. But I do think that I do think the answer is learning how to be more cooperative. For instance, if you could build a cooperative community where folks shared resources and shared services and bartered things, not to say that this is exactly the lifestyle that I want to live, but that kind of lifestyle exists and is viable. So I think I don't know. I just don't think that there's not enough. I just don't believe that. I try not to think like that. I'm in a state where I'm thinking in abundance.
Devil's advocate. The way I perceive the world, because if that's the case, I wouldn't be doing out here trying to think about it. I made a book in 2020. A book, a 2D object. Like, trust me, I believe there's more out here. I believe there's a lot more of everything. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering from other people, because there has to be a reason why this fear exists. There has to be a reason why this ignorance exists. There has to be a reason why people are literally so fearful of us and trying to get something. We got to get shot in the back 7 times. Where we have a need, like these things are coming from a place of either scarcity or hate or ignorance. Like there is some people feeling like they have to.
But I think that hate and ignorance come from a scarcity mindset.
Mm-hmm. Talk about it.
And I don't know what the source of that scarcity mindset is, but I do think that is the reason for all of these things. This idea that there is not enough, so we have to hold on to whatever we got. Whether it's this neighborhood, you can't come here because we don't want to share this with you, or money, resources. If we share this with you, you will do X, Y, Z. You will surpass me in accomplishments. You will take what I have away from me. You will overshadow me in some ways. But I think that fear also holds people back. I really do believe that we're on this earth to be to work together, and we'll grow faster and move faster together. One of the costume designers, Memsor, on a project that I was on, said that one of the designers in this collective that I'm in had said, you know, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Yeah. Right? I don't know who this quote is from, but I feel like that's the answer.
Faster alone.
That's the answer.
Further together. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the answer.
I'm gonna act like I'm ending it on that, but I'm not. I'm really not. That's a beautiful way to end. And if I choose to put it, but I'm not going to, because I got some time and I'm taking my 7 minutes. I'm reclaiming the rest of my time. Yeah, man. What else is on your mind? Like, seriously, forget my dumbass questions. What else is on your mind? I mean, you got a haircut.
Dumbass questions.
Like you. Look at that. You got a haircut. What else is going on?
I did get a haircut.
Like, I'm telling you, man. This actually is from India. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you didn't ask me a lot of the questions that you had. We could always pick up over the weekend if you want, but
I don't have to. Like, the conversation that we have is the conversation I want to have. That's why I ask questions ahead of time, because I just want to meet the people where they are. I don't want to guide a conversation to a place that doesn't go.
Yeah. But I don't know. I don't feel like I have eloquent ways to explain how I feel about things. I'm a doer. I'm a doer. I just do. I just do. I think about things. I just want to do. I'm a physical, I need to physically be doing things to feel alive. So that's why I work so hard. But I mean, I think self-care is very important, and I'm working on that. Taking time for myself and taking care of myself, and, being kind to myself and others. I think that's super, super important, especially for entrepreneurs, people pursuing things that just require so much of you, right? I think being an artist, even yourself, I know you must know what it feels like to be so vulnerable. That level of vulnerability that you have to have as an artist is hard sometimes, and takes a lot of work, a lot of self-work, I think, to just stay sane. But as long as you are pouring back into yourself in different ways, or finding what it is that makes you happy or fulfills you, I think that's what's important. So, I mean, and that's why, as a creator and someone who has really big dreams, I really see myself as a bigger version of Ashley. I'm okay, I'm in this version of myself right now, but I'm really seeing who I want to be. That's who I'm trying to be every day, the person that I want to be. But in doing that, I definitely drain myself a lot. So You gotta take care of yourself. And I think, finding like ways to maintain like your mental health is super important. Because if your mental is straight, then everything else just falls in line. So I don't know.
It really is. Like last year, I wasn't doing that. I really wasn't. I
Yeah.
went too far left. Like between working and doing the book and everything, like I put myself in a place where I haven't been in a very long time, and some place I didn't really want to be. I almost lost a lot doing that. And I'm still in a position where if I don't pay attention, I could potentially lose it again. It's just I get really fixed on the thing, the goal, and I want to do it really bad. And I must work myself to nothing, almost to dust, until like the goal is achieved. My version. And that's not always the best thing for your relationships, for your mental health, for your family. And so like this whole year has been trying to learn balance, trying to learn grace, trying to learn forgiveness, trying to be kind to myself, not just
Trying to like love the journey.
Yeah.
You also have to love the journey, because that's a part of it, right? It's like, yeah, the goal is there, and that's once you've achieved that thing, then what's next? Because there's going to be some next goal after that. But that's a finite thing, when you've achieved this one thing. But it's the journey on the way there, the learning process, the relationships that you build, what you learn about yourself, the skills that you learn, what you contribute to the world, like all that stuff on the way there is what matters, I think.
No, I absolutely agree. That's why it's funny that the whole channel is like, life's about sharing, and sharing is about the journey. Like the book, this channel is all about the journey. Like I just want to keep wherever they are in the middle of their journey, and just trying to keep them as honest as possible. Because I think we focus a lot in our culture in general, because it's just like we don't want to waste any time with people who aren't. We only want to hear about the success stories. We only want to hear about the person that's already got the dreams. We only want to hear about the person that's on the Breakfast Club, and the person that's already on the stage walking collecting the award. But nobody wants to see the behind the scenes of the grind of the bad the days that they have to work to get to the. And those are the days that I think are way more relatable. And those are the ones that I think we all can feel with. Like we've all been in the grind trying to get like a lust for the other version. I fetishize the next person I'm trying to. I love that. What's the next version of me going to be? What's going to be the next thing that I create? Similar to you, probably all of it.
Yeah.
And that's the passion. That's the fire.
That's the fire.
I guess we can end on that. Fine. Oh yeah. Like I said, man, I don't care about those questions. I really don't. Like, I like all of them, but you've answered them so well to everyone else. Like this conversation that we had here is a conversation that only you and I would have. But anybody, so exactly, tell me about your travel, what type of materials you use, and how Moya, you love her, and where you guys met. For 10 years, and then we went to India. We have a life-changing trip, and we had a night. Like you guys are so good at like translating your brand message and your brand origin and where it's at. Anyone can answer that, but no one can have the conversation that we just had. I think this conversation is really going to resonate to people. Like, I just want to feel people.
Getting the unfiltered, curse word approved Ashley conversation.
Get back to your get to your next meeting. I just want to say thank you again for the time. I got everything I wanted. Thank you. Seriously.
No, thank you. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.
All right.
Next. I'm trying to.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Bye, guys.